start from here. Here's the mixture we're using for the walls today. This is a mixture of 2 parts sand, 1 part clay soil. This clay soil that we have here has about 60% clay and about 40% sand and stone. For the walls, you look for a mixture of about 80% sand, 20% clay, and when you mix that together dry, you then add water to taste, and when you've mixed that until it's basically all mixed well, you then add, in this case, cut straw, which is the rest from when I put the bales into the house. There was lots of straw left over, and that's sort of finely chopped up with a strimmer into little pieces, and then you must stand on it a long time until finally you can enter your fist into it and your fist comes out clean, and that's when it's ready. Before you can do that, you need to take all the stones out of the clay soil, and those stones are then thermal mass. And because I've got a radiant floor, you need to store the heat of the sun somehow. The best thing for that would be water, so you could have a big tank of water under the ground, but the second best is stone and clay. The mixture we're making is stones and clay with a bit of sand, but a very informal mixture because it doesn't have to stick to the walls. It just has to be thermal mass, and it's in the floor under compression, so it's not. We weren't so careful with the mixture yesterday. The slightly strange thing for people here is the fact you've got to put lots of water on. The water is the glue, and it's the lubricant as well. So if you're putting the clay on top of clay, first it's lots of water, and then if the sun's strong or the wind is strong, more water, and then when that's happening, just splat it on the wall and smooth it on. It's actually quite intuitive. You just feel if the clay's too sloppy, it's too sloppy. If it's too dry, it's sort of obviously too dry. And all the people here have got the technique in 1 or 2 goes, then you realise. But the trick is lots of water normally. If it's not smoothing easily, then more water, and it all flows nicely and ends up nice and smooth. Normally there's huge amounts of energy goes into building a house. To produce cement is burning rocks for 3 days, which is the 3rd biggest source of carbon dioxide in the world, is producing cement. So this house, it's a 0 carbon construction house. Because I've recycled most of the materials, it's actually a carbon sink. So the clay is, if it's kept dry, then it will last forever. It stops fire, keeps in heat, gives a nice texture, and it's just basically a wall covering that's been used for thousands of years. There's going to be a short period when energy is cheap, when we use cement. But then if you build a cement house, you then need to cool it in the summer with lots of air conditioning and heat it in the winter with lots of heat, both of which are very inefficient. This house is cooled in the summer and will be hopefully warm in the winter without using any carbon or any control or any air conditioning or basically anything that can go wrong. Then you can eat it. Not the best thing in the world to eat, but you can eat it. You can get it in your eyes. It doesn't hurt. Unlike clay, if I tried to eat cement or put it in my eyes, I'd be running for the water now. But it's actually totally inert. You can, do whatever you like with it. Very enjoyable. There's just a sort of general happiness now on the work camp. It's just a lovely material, and it's super flexible. Any little hole you have, you just sort of fill it with clay, basically. And if you've got a cap that's too big, you fill it with clay one day. When it dries, go back the next day and fill it some more. And then if you need some more materials, you don't go to the shop. Oh, the shop's closed, or the shop's whatever. You just go to the mountain and dig out a bit more. What we're missing here on the outside layer is something impermeable. The Mexicans use cactus, chumbera, prickly pear cactus chopped up. Here in Spain, Catalonia, the tradition is with cal. So I've still got to decide what I'm going to do between the cal, which is use huge amounts of energy but maybe more effective, but actually ends up being white, and I don't want a white house. Or the chumbera, which is less effective but much more eco. And then I end up with a brown house, which is the natural colour which I prefer.